Hey there, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Jason Boyer here with you, and just getting some information before we start talking about more of the severe weather that's happening across the area. We got severe thunderstorms that are hitting pretty hard right now. We've already had lots of wind damage across the area, so that's mostly to the south, thankfully, that has been down into the upstate. We'll be talking more about that in just a second. And wanted to get you an update on some of the damage that we already are seeing, and just getting new information right now from that. We have many reports of severe weather happening, and a lot of the activity is popping up. Even in the mountains, we have the potential for some severe weather, so we want you to be aware of that as well. And let's get right to it. So the radar very active right now. The latest warnings are all of these counties here you see that are highlighted right now. That is a lot of the upstate. We have many counties in even the southern mountains here. It includes Rutherford County, Polk County, and part of Henderson County. That's out until 9:45 this evening. I'll zoom in on that. And that's a huge area. Look at that. That's a large area that is under a severe thunderstorm warning. The good news is we're not in that warning here in Buncombe County. We got some strong storms, same for you now in Transylvania County, but you're not in the warning. The bad news is this is a large area that has already produced a lot of wind damage, and I can take you back to the west, and you can see the wind damage has been pretty extensive in these areas south. First, our stop is up into the French Broad River Valley. We're looking pretty quiet here, obviously. The bigger storms are to our south. Severe thunderstorm warning still till 9:15 for Anderson, Greenville, Pickens, Transylvania County. And then the new one is extending farther east of that for more of Greenville, more of Lawrence, now Spartanburg, Union, Cherokee County involved as well. So it is a lot of area in the upstate that is under the gun for damaging wind. We've already had multiple reports, and these reports actually are just coming in as I speak. So what I'm going to do is turn on the local storm data. You can see how many reports we've had here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 so far that have plotted here. These are all wind damage reports where you see those kinds of icons on the map. These are wind gusts reported, and we've had plenty of them. There's a new wind gust just reported in Greenville. Let's take a look at that one. That is a gust that is now 53 miles per hour, measured at the Greenville Downtown Airport just before 9 o'clock. And we were showing you this earlier, excuse me, here on my YouTube page. We were thinking around 9 o'clock, worst is probably hitting you in Greenville. And sure enough, there they are. Those storms are marching in, and quickly. Let's go right into downtown Greenville. We do have a severe warned storm here right over Greenville, Delwood, Taylors. Look at the flash there. The radar site for the data is right here, just to the east of this storm. So you're seeing some of these lines because the radar, it's so close to the radar. But know that any of this could be producing damaging wind, and that could knock down trees. It could certainly flip over a mobile home if it's elevated, meaning that it's set up above the ground on cinder blocks or those concrete blocks. Let's take a look at some of the wind data that we're getting closest to this area. And my apologies, that was not the one I wanted. And there you go, there it is, 53. So that verifies, obviously, with the data that we're getting from the radar site. We had that wind gust in downtown Greenville at 53 miles per hour. It looks like the strongest winds are now just to the east of downtown Greenville, and some of the wind up near Travelers Rest, you know, you're talking almost 50 miles per hour there recently too. So these are gusts that are likely capable of producing not only some minor damage, but flipping over a carport or damaging the carports if they are certainly in line or in the way. And you've had already some strong gusts over into Easley and the Taylors area. Look at this, that velocity still expected to be close to 50 at this moment, even though the winds of worst of it has moved on past you. Let's put the radar back on, and you can see what we're talking about. The worst is east of you now in Easley. It's right over downtown and east into the areas like Wade Hampton, and then you go Simpsonville, Piedmont, Williamston. Those areas are under the gun for the damaging wind. Highland now, just east of Travelers Rest, that's where some of the worst of it is pounding that area of northern Greenville County. Watch out Fingerville, watch out here Saluda, Columbus, Mill Spring area, Tryon. You could be dealing with damaging wind shortly. Hendersonville itself is in the warning. So Hendersonville, I need you to be in a safe place. You need to find a safe place away from windows in a sturdy structure. This is a severe warned storm. In fact, a line that is now moving into Hendersonville. So watch out here in Hendersonville, Grimesdale, East Flat Rock. You get the idea. Mills River, Etowah. These are storms that are warned on for you. So this does include Mills River, Etowah, down Highway 64 and 280. It does include areas like Mountain Home and Hendersonville and Fruitland. So watch out on those areas. This is a potential damaging wind storm for you. Let's go ahead and show you some of the velocity that I'm getting here. Now this is, keep in mind, farther from the radar, so it may be a little too high up to get a good estimate, but the idea is we're definitely dealing with some stronger winds, mostly above ground in a lot of cases here, but we could see those stronger winds all the way down to the surface here, even though they're not as impressive in terms of their speeds that we're picking up on the data. I can actually tell the radar, let's do this. I'm going to tell the radar to go higher in the storm. So there you're now seeing the sample of data that might give us a better, yeah, we're getting over 30, 35 miles per hour now in that part of the storm just south of Hendersonville. Some of those gusts are a little stronger. Of course, we're a little higher up into the storm. I raised the beam, as we say, the radar beam to shoot higher up into the storm, but it gives you an idea of some of the wind gusts that might be coming your way. Certainly not as intense or likely damaging as the ones that we're seeing south into the upstate. Now this is earlier wind gusts, again, south of Brevard near Conisty Falls, around 40 miles per hour. If you have any damage, if you have a tree that's come down or power lines or something has fallen and on your property, you can report that. We encourage you to obviously share that data with us. Share that information with us at WLOS. You can go to n2k@wlos.com, need to know, and send it that way, or you can alert the Weather Service and they will share that data with the public, including us here, of course, at WLOS. And to give you an idea here of some of the strong wind that we still got going on right over the radar now, you can see there's that hole where the radar is because the data has to climb and actually get to something, and there it is. It's right near Greer and just north of I-85. So if you have family or friends that are traveling I-85 right now between Greenville and Spartanburg, I would let them know that this is a storm that is likely going to produce some strong wind. Let me take that off for a second. Strong wind and a possibility of damaging wind. Now I got a report from the National Weather Service. Keep in mind, the National Weather Service is right near this radar site here and in the Greer area, the GSP airport. So they're getting information, and a National Weather Service employee has reported a wind gust of 50 miles per hour. So there you go, 50 miles per hour. And if you're just joining in and you want to chat with me, let me know. Of course, I appreciate anybody that subscribes to this YouTube page. I would love for you to do that. Just click subscribe and you get more information like this. Just watching for some information to come in. But if you're down in the upstate, that's where the worst has been here so far this early evening. We've dealt with a lot of wind damage reports. Oh, look at this, new storms that are now becoming severe outside of the upstate. This is more closer to the Midlands. Those are for Aiken, Lexington, Newberry, and Saluda counties down into the areas west of Columbia. So it gives you an idea. There's more damaging wind potential there. These are very, very menacing looking on radar. This area out here, I'm looking at that for you in Macon County and Oconee and Southern Jackson. It's not considered severe. It is heavy rain and it's likely some gusty wind. But if we look again at the radar, and I will make this go back down. Okay, so it's back down to that. So now it gives us an idea. Let's see what we're looking at here. We're looking at gusts, 30, 35, possibly at the lower levels. I mean, nothing that's going to be severe at this point for you, even though those storms are pretty menacing looking on radar out in our southern mountains. Really, the threat for damaging wind exists right along and ahead of this line. It's a quasi linear convective system here. We don't have anything, we call it a QLCS. It's a fancy name, but essentially it's not a perfect line, obviously, but there's an idea that there's a line of thunderstorms sort of forming here, and they've been holding them together for a while now, coming out of northeast Georgia and into the mountains and upstate. So anything ahead or along this line, you get that bowing effect of the line, that it's actually the momentum of the wind and the forward momentum of the storms that can give you an added push of that damaging wind threat. So, we look for where the apex of this or the biggest bow might be. And if we stop the radar now, that's happening here into western Spartanburg County and also western Lawrence County. Those are some of the storms that might be producing most of the wind. I wouldn't let your guard down either for that one on the northern end up here right east of Highland, headed for Landrum. Landrum, you need to be inside a safe structure, sturdy building, away from windows, not in a mobile home. They can be flipped. This one right here, though, this is still pretty menacing looking. Just now east of the radar, you can see this cluster here that's giving us an indication that it's bowing pretty well. Reedville, you need to be inside now. Inside a sturdy structure in Reedville and Fairmont, Spartanburg, Woodruff, just to be safe, Woodruff. The worst is probably going to pass just north of you, Woodruff. But this is right over I-85 between Duncan and Fairmont. I'm going to turn the warnings off since they do get a little cluttered at times when they're on here. But the idea is that anything in this area of the upstate has a warned storm happening right now. Severe thunderstorm warned storms that are producing damaging wind gusts, and they've already done so many places. So heed the warnings in those areas over the upstate. If you've gotten an alert from us, or you've gotten one from the National Weather Service, or you're just finding out here on my YouTube page, please heed those warnings. I do the same thing up here in Henderson County. This is probably where the worst is happening now, the very northwest corner of Henderson County. Right now, bearing down on Mills River, hitting Mills River, and areas just to the north of Hendersonville. Let's sample that data for you to show you some of the velocities. And again, these are not as impressive in terms of the wind that we're getting in terms of data from these storms. They're not as damaging in terms of the look and the numbers we're getting. But do know that these storms have the potential of even pushing some weak-rooted trees down, shallow-rooted trees, some trees that are damaged already from Helene. They could certainly come down in a storm like this. So just be aware. I'm not expecting widespread damage or anything like that, but there is definitely the possibility up here in the mountains over Henderson County we could have some issues with the wind. Trying to find out if there's any information here. I don't see a lot of hail within these storms. Just going through some of the data, it just doesn't look like they're producing much hail at this point. New data coming out of Tennessee, just watching those. But this is a large area that is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Many counties in the upstate, including several here into the mountains. We'll zoom in again and show you. There's a lot of area that is included in these severe thunderstorm warnings. So we got Anderson, Greenville, Pickens, Transylvania, Spartanburg, Union, Lawrence. You're all under warnings, and some of these are expiring here shortly to the west, and others are going to go for another 30 minutes or so. And Gaffney, you're included in that. That's Cherokee County, so heads up. Gaffney and Blacksburg and areas like Mayo, Surratt, Boiling Springs, and here into the upstate. Amateur radio, let's see, we got a new report of some wind damage. Tree down on a house along, I got to figure that one out for a second, hold on. Let's go see where that damage is coming in. I'm going to go in here. It's probably faster. That is a house, Notchwood Court. Notchwood Court, that is northwest of, or just west, I guess you could say, of Greenville, south of Travelers Rest, more the Berea area. So if you're in the Berea area, you probably had some wind damage there in that part of the upstate. So heads up in that area, right in here. Taking off the lightning, taking off that, and we can turn on some storm reports. So that is the report right there near the town of Berea. right off of Highway 25, Greenville Highway. So we go back down there, and this is between West Parker Road and Hamburg Road down the Greenville Highway. That is a report of the damaged home, or at least I'm assuming there's damage to the home because there's a tree down on a house along Notchwood Court. Heads up. That is why we urge you to stay in place inside a sturdy structure and postpone travel. Worst of the storms now concentrated here. It looks like these storms are starting to split a little bit, but the line is holding together on the northern end. We got new data coming in. This is holding together pretty well here between Fingerville, Spartanburg, and eventually into Reedville. This is now hitting you pretty hard in Reedville. Sampling some of the data, and it's giving us an indication that the winds are still very strong. Here, 16 plus miles per hour, a possibility within that severe thunderstorm. So we need you to get to a safe place if you're in these counties. Spartanburg County, if you're in Greenville County. Now the worst has moved through downtown already. Downtown Greenville, easily 6 Mile, Clemson, things are improving. Now they're not great, but they're definitely not as severe. Right now you're just getting a lot of rain in these areas, and you're getting a lot of rain, and there's still plenty of rain back to the west. I mean, look at how much rain is still sitting here for places in the southern mountains. I mean, this is something that a lot of you have had to deal with lately. This month of June and May have been very wet in the south, the Carolinas included. And we just don't want a lot of rain, and here's what we're getting right now. So there might be some localized issues of flooding. Low-lying areas, flood-prone areas, poorer drainage areas, those might have some issues with this kind of rain coming down in a short amount of time. Now, these storms are going to race their way to the east. Let me give you an idea again of where they might be in the coming hour or so. We move them into Boiling Springs here shortly. A few minutes from now, they'll be bearing down on Boiling Springs. Pauline, you're around 9:38. The other Boiling Springs, as you say, north and east of Pauline, around 10 o'clock. Gaffney around 10:04. Shelby, that far east into the areas of Cleveland County. We're talking at 10:17. So heads up in these areas, Spartanburg, Lawrence County, especially into Union and Cherokee County. This is where the worst of the storms are right now. The worst of the storms is basically into western Lawrence, western Spartanburg, very eastern Greenville County now, outside of Greenville itself, east of Simpsonville, bearing down on Lawrence. So heads up. We still have these strong and possibly severe storms over Henderson County. Heads up now, Fletcher area. We're about to get some heavy rain here in Royal Pines and South Asheville, Avery's Creek. Watch out for some heavy rain here about to come in. Could have some very gusty winds. Again, we're not anticipating damage in most cases here in the mountains, but there could be some weak. We just had another power hit. There's a couple power hits happening here at the station. That's an indication that we're probably getting some lines knocked down. Okay, so there probably is a little bit of damage possible here as these branches might be hitting lines or coming down on lines. So we'll be watching for more power outages. Here comes this looks like that one just expired. Okay, so there is no longer a severe thunderstorm warning for northwest and central portions of Henderson County. However, in the very southern part of Henderson County, you see the flashing polygon. You're still in that warning down here. Zirconia, down 25, Greenville Highway. Zirconia area, off the east into Tryon, Saluda, Mill Spring, Columbus, all the way into Rutherford County, Forest City, also Thermal City, and Rutherfordton itself. Ellenboro on the east side of the county, you're still in it too. So watch out there. This is 221. We got 64 coming out of Lake Lore, 221 involved, and then 74 cutting across Polk County and Rutherford County. So heads up in those areas. This one right here, this storm that has moved through Tryon might have produced some damage. It's definitely bowing, and that bowing effect is giving us an indication the winds are strongest, probably right in here, right between Tryon and Fingerville. So heads up in those areas. Getting some new data here. More reports Tree down in Landrum. That's a report that came in. That's Spartanburg County. Hearing the thunder right now. That's a good clap of thunder that just happened outside our studio here in South Asheville, in the Skyland area, the Biltmore Park area. Yeah, that's definitely the storm that's virtually on top of us now. Right there, new lightning strike. Turn off the lightning, turn on the lightning. There it is. That is likely what I just heard. Okay, so that's just a mile, maybe, from our location, maybe a little more, but that's it. So this is a strong thunderstorm, not a severe thunderstorm if you're in southern Buncombe County, northern Henderson County. I know you're saying, wait a minute, this isn't severe. It's not considered severe. There is specific criteria that has to be met for a storm to be considered severe and for the National Weather Service to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. It is 58 miles per hour or stronger wind gusts potential, or damaging hail of an inch in diameter larger, or both, or, of course, the possibility of a tornado. If it can possibly produce a tornado, there's going to be either a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. Depends on the severity of the storm. But that is what is considered a severe thunderstorm. And thus that is what is warned on. Yes, you can still get branches coming down. Yes, you can still get hail. Yes, you can still have a very terrifying thunderstorm, but it may not be considered, classified as severe. Okay, so I don't want you to say, oh, it's not severe, I can go run some errands and just get out. It's probably not a good idea. I mean, any of these downpours could, it's blinding rain. It could produce very heavy rain in a short amount of time, some localized flooding. The stronger wind gusts could certainly move the car on the road, and you can hydroplane. You just don't want to take any chances, folks, and just let it go by. Let it go by. We still have heavy rain off to the west, though. It's still going to be a while before all of that rain comes to an end. So a few more hours, and we still got rain to go through the area. So we're probably going to be dealing with more of the nuisance rainfall for a while here in the mountains. More of the severe weather threat is east into the foothills and upstate. I got a lot of reports coming in. Let me turn those reports back on. Look at all these storm reports. As this just animates, you'll see the storm reports come on, and it is definitely the upstate that has taken the brunt of it. Although we just got on the end of that storm here. Remember this one I told you about between Fingerville and Tryon? That's some damage that was just reported. Again, I want to show you that north of Landrum, right near Landrum, a tree down. That's just one report, okay? There could be more trees down. We just haven't had reports. That's why we urge you to report damage or a tree down or power lines. If you encounter that or know of that, report it to us, report it to the Weather Service, report it to your local authorities, the fire department, the police department, utility crews, things like that. Let them know. It's always good to know. So you can see the cluster has been definitely down over the upstate where most of the action's been in the last hour and a half to 2 hours. That's where most of the action has been. Looks like they're going to issue, is that a new one coming out? I think there's a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just going to be issued. Nope, they updated one. Okay, so now they canceled Henderson. They continue Greenwood, Pickens, Anderson, Abbeville. You're still in there. Cancels Henderson, Abbeville, Anderson, Greenwood, Pickens. It's a lot to read here. It does continue Polk, Rutherford, Cherokee in the upstate, Greenville, Lawrence, Spartanburg, Union till 9:45. So again, you're seeing it on radar here. These are the only counties left in the severe thunderstorm warning. That's a lot, but it's confined now. East of Greenville, east of Lawrence is where some of the worst weather is happening now, and it's going to continue to go into Cherokee, Union County, more Spartanburg, more of Lawrence County. So heads up in those areas. Obviously, wind damage, the greatest threat. So this is what we've been watching. These storms are definitely menacing. There's a heavy rain threat in the mountains, but no active warnings for Asheville, Hendersonville, or Waynesville. But obviously, you look back to the west, you see all of that, and you think, there's goodness gracious, there's got to be something. But that's just heavy rain mostly, some gusty wind, but mostly just heavy rain. All right, and it's loud in those areas, but they're not severe. They're not considered severe. This is where the severe weather is, right here, right near along and east of this line, this quasi line we call it, as it's going into the east. Okay, That's the latest radar scan. We're getting new data. Okay. Special weather statement has been issued for Asheville. That's not a severe thunderstorm warning. That's a special weather statement considering the strong thunderstorm will impact southwestern McDowell County as well. Greater Rutherfordton, Henderson, Madison, McDowell Mountains, Polk Mountains, Rutherford Mountains, Yancey. That's still 9:45. So we got some strong storms that are being talked about in terms of the Weather Service office right now. Strong storms, special weather statement for those areas. That includes the Asheville area. That's Buncombe County too. Doppler radar tracking strong storms along the line between Marshall and Hendersonville. They're moving northeast at 40. So, I mean, they're bearing down on us quickly here, and they're going to roll through quickly. So there it is. That's the concern right now is the red that you see over the Buncombe County area back over Haywood too. This is a concern for maybe some gusty winds, something that might produce enough to knock some weak trees down, or something that's been weakened by Helene, obviously 9 months ago now. But there you go. And trying to figure this out here to see what's going on. And it's just been a lot going on. I mean, this is a line of severe thunderstorms that continues to march east of Greenville. It was rolling in from the southwest and northeast Georgia and raced its way across the upstate. So new information here. Just a lot of reports of wind damage, obviously, down here in the upstate. Not many in the way of hail. Mostly just, look at that. That's the hail now. Doesn't show any colors here. You'd look for the purples, blues, yellows. There's nothing. So our data just tells us there's just not really hail. This is a wind threat, and now we're east of the radar site, so the reds are showing up. When you get east of the radar and the wind's blowing that way away from it, you can see away is red. That's the wind here blowing away from the radar, which is right there. Toward the radar would be coming from that direction, so the greens show up. That gives you an indication of what we're looking at. Let's figure out where these strongest winds are right now. Right to the west of Spartanburg, if not bearing down on Spartanburg itself, Boiling Springs, 53 miles per hour just outside Spartanburg, a little less, maybe closer to Boiling Springs, and then you get into areas north, and there you go. You get the idea. There's still a potential for damaging wind in these areas of Spartanburg County, right through the heart of Spartanburg County, up and down I-26 and along 85. Hey, I'm going to have to leave it at that. I'm going to continue to watch this. Again, no warnings for Asheville or Waynesville or back to the west. We still have some warnings still going on until 9:45. They're almost over with here for areas east. That would be Polk County. Polk County, things are improving greatly now from Tryon to Columbus. Still pretty rough east of those areas like the Green Creek area. Forest City heads up. They're bearing down on you. You got a severe thunderstorm warning till 9:45, and that might be extended in that area of Rutherford County. It depends on how quickly these storms can get through. Definitely going to have the warning at least until 9:45 for those counties you see yellow. That's Union, that's Cherokee County in the upstate. That's also Lawrence County. So heads up in those areas. These storms are not severe back to the west, and once these storms come through, the atmosphere is much calmer, quieter, so things will improve. I'll talk more about the severe weather threat coming up in the days ahead, and we'll talk more about the severe weather that's already occurred tonight. So tune in on My 40 at 10 o'clock, and again on News 13 at 11. So I will see you then. Take care. Be safe. And thanks for watching here on my YouTube channel, and please click subscribe.